It's about to go down, down, down. Welcome to the Talk of Life talk show with Elma. It's a blessing to be back with you once again on this Monday evening. We want to start the show off with our scripture, Philippians 1 and 6, being confident of this very thing, that he which has begun a good work in you will perform it until the day of Jesus Christ. Tonight we're blessed to have with us Aqueelah Collier, and she's going to tell us about herself. We love getting into people's business. Don't we, girls?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. We love it because of the fact that her business is going to bless someone. Because a lot of people out there are dealing with mental health, mental illness, bipolar, suicide, and all of this stuff. And we sometimes wonder what goes on. So we're going to get in Miss Collier business tonight.
From an expert.
From an expert that's going to talk with. That's what Linda said.
Yes.
Is she an expert, Linda?
She's an expert.
A good expert?
She's a black woman of God
Ah!
and a expert on mental health and mental retardation.
Yes, it is good to have an African American woman that is so beautiful.
Amen.
Oh, isn't she beautiful? Isn't she beautiful? Isn't she lovely? But anyway, back to the show. We love to make our guests feel so special because they are. And we really appreciate you taking the time to come out and be with us tonight. So, Linda is going to tell a little bit how she got to know Miss Collier.
Well, I was first introduced to Miss Collier at a wedding, I think about 4 years ago. And so I was, her husband, who I worked with, is Mr. Collier, Reginald Collier, and he was talking about his wife and her business. And I said, you know what, it would be really interesting if she could come on our talk show. And so I got in, he gave me her phone number, and but first I asked him to make sure that it was okay for me to call you.
Right.
Because, you know, some people have issues with phone and you don't know me.
Especially a woman calling.
Right.
Okay.
And so,
my husband told you to call me? Okay.
and so what I did was I got in touch with her and I asked would she be on the show. And she agreed, and then she said she needed to know the format. And I said, well, you have to talk to the host, which is Miss Kirkwood. And so that's how we started out. And then I read some of her bio where she's an Army veteran.
All right, salute to the U.S. Army. Yes, we salute you. Thank you for your service.
Amen.
Thank you for your support.
And also she helped veterans, which is good because
That's good.
it's very hard for people to, you know, entertain veterans after they have served
That's
this
right.
country. It's like they're forgotten.
That
But
is so
she
true.
has instilled where she's going to make sure that they are not forgotten.
Good point.
And also she's a licensed clinical social worker. So she has a license to teach
Amen.
and instruct and counsel. So it's not like she's one of those, you know, those what do they call those people that fix on cars?
Shade
Shade tree mechanic.
She is not a shade tree therapist. So I would like for you to meet Mrs. Collier so she can tell us
All
more
right.
about herself.
All right. Okay, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get started with your profession, and what is your passion? Talk to us about that tonight.
Well, as you stated, my name is Aqueelah Collier, and I am a licensed clinical social worker,
Okay.
Mental health therapist by trade. How I got started in this work was I was in the military, as you alluded to. I served in the military in the Army for over 10 years. Served in combat in Operation Iraqi Freedom.
Wow.
Upon returning from that tour of 18 months, there were some people that did not make it back with us safely. There were some people who came back with what we know as post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yes.
I seemingly came back okay,
Praise
but
God.
I had my own issues to work through, and I had to go to therapy for myself, process the trauma that had occurred, and get to a better place mentally.
Oh,
So
okay.
from that experience, I decided I wanted to be in a place to help my fellow veterans. And so I went to school, did the work, got my master's degree, and began to do
All right, master's degree. Love it.
and began to do the work under the umbrella of mental health. As I began that journey, I not only was I inspired to work with veterans, I fell in love with working with all people. So I
Good.
work with individuals, couples, and families who suffer from anything from depression, anxiety, psychosis, schizophrenia, relationship issues. I cannot cover the whole spectrum, but I have a specialty with veterans with PTSD. So,
Okay. So with the veteran, the PTSD, because I've listened to so many of them commit suicide. You hear it every day that it's maybe one veteran that's going through this and they give up because they can't get any help. And I work with veterans on my job trying to get them jobs. And they say it's a big change coming from what civilian
right.
and coming into, and some of them just give up because they don't have, they go to the hospital, they not treated right, and they say, I served this country and I don't get the help. So
Right.
we hear this on the news about them committing suicide. So talk to us a little bit about that with the veterans.
Well, what you're alluding to is the transition that veterans
Okay.
go through. Some people don't recognize or forget that there is a transition when you go
Yes.
from military life, whether you were in combat or not in combat, and then transition over to what we call civilian life.
Right.
It's a completely different dynamic. The way
Yes.
that you interact with people, the way that you talk to them, how much eye contact you give them,
Yes,
and then the
yes.
experiences that the individual or the veteran has experienced, bringing that over into the civilian side and seeing how I can continue to use my strengths and my skills that I used in the military, how is that appropriate here on the civilian side? So it's a full transition that the individual goes through, and like you said, if they don't have the support of their family, of their community,
Right.
of their schools and their churches, they can kind of fall to the wayside.
Side.
And so sometimes they're reluctant to go to the VA, right? And I
Right.
always encourage every veteran to go to the VA because there are a lot of resources. It has changed quite a bit over the
Good.
years. And so there's a lot of things there that can be helpful not only to the veteran, but to their family as well. Now,
Right.
I operate outside of the VA component. Although I promote it, I am independent. So I have a private practice in Mansfield, Texas, where I see veterans there in my private practice who don't want to go to the VA. And then
Okay.
sometimes people don't recognize that every person that served, every person that's a veteran, not everyone can go to the VA.
Oh, really?
Right. So depending upon how they were
Huh.
discharged from the
Okay,
military,
yeah.
that may play a factor
That's true.
in the services that they can receive. And so I see everyone, regardless of their discharge status, regardless of if they're still in, I see
Okay.
people that are still in, and I see people that are out from every era. So just making the resources available, making sure that they're aware of what resources are out there, giving them the support that they need, I think that will make a big difference.
So if they was to come to your office to get help, what kind of insurance? I mean, they can bring in their own insurance.
Yes,
Okay.
So usually if a person is still in the military or within 1 year of discharging, then they qualify for what we call military one source. Right,
Okay.
and so if they're not familiar with that, I will be on the phone with them, help them get connected with Military One Source, and ensure that they get those resources that are available to them, and not only to them, to their family members.
Oh, okay.
And sometimes they have the insurance known as TRICARE, right?
Okay.
A lot of clinicians and a lot of doctors don't accept TRICARE, but I do. So I accept TRICARE, Military One Source, if they are on a civilian job and they have common insurances like Blue Cross Blue Shield and so forth.
Okay.
I accept those. And then some people just want to, they don't want insurance involved, and so they do private pay. But regardless of their ability to pay, the main goal is that no veteran is left behind and no
Good.
individual is left behind. I may not be the therapist for every person, and so
Right.
I have a vested interest in making sure everyone that I come in contact with, if I can't help them, that I pass them to someone that I feel is capable of assisting them.
Well, that's good. So they can have some kind of confidence saying, if I go there, I'm not going to be just kicked out the door
No, ma'am.
and thrown away. So,
Exactly. What is TRICARE? What is TRICARE insurance? Is it an insurance or is it, okay?
Yeah, it's an insurance that most military and veterans have access to, but not all, but most of them do. So, yeah, it's an insurance.
Oh, okay.
But anybody can come to your office, right?
Right, anyone,
Anyone.
not just, we speak a lot about veterans
Right.
because I am, and my family is veterans, and my daughter serves in the Air Force.
Go, daughter, we salute you too.
But aside from that, I see a lot of individuals who come in just with their own personal issues with depression, anxiety, relationship
Yes,
issues.
yes.
I see a lot of couples. So it just depends on where you are. I'm the therapist that's going to meet you where you are, and I'm not going to place you in a box. I'm going to meet you where you are and help fill the gap from that point forward.
I guess I'm trying to understand the transition between civilian and when they're
Military.
exiting,
Military and-
when they're exiting, and you're saying that they're going through issues, traumatic issues. Now I can understand the war part in the war zone. You know, the people that aren't necessarily, I guess, out in the field. What are some things that they actually experience in that transition? Because if someone just got out from the military, I wouldn't know if they were a veteran or not unless they actually told me. I wouldn't be, because I would have never thought you were in the military. I mean, that wasn't something that crossed my mind when I
Right.
looked at you.
I don't look like what I've been through.
Right. I would have thought you were so, I just wouldn't have thought that. So even working where I work, when people come into our office, unless they say that
You
they're
actually- that's
veterans,
right.
I can't tell. So what are they experiencing emotionally in, because we can't see that. Coming from civilian, is it that we're too lazy in the civilian world? That's me. Or it was more structured, and then you come out and it's not. 'Cause I have two brothers that were military retired. One did 20, and my other one, I think he did 8. They merged in great. When they watched me, think they a little throwed off, but no, but
Yeah, so there is a transition process, and that looks different for each person. And so we speak a lot about combat veterans, but those that are not combat related also have to transition because the culture is completely different.
So
Right.
when
in
you're
the
saying, I
military.
guess I can't picture it. So like, what would be an example of the culture being
Okay.
different?
So I was in the Army, so
Okay.
each branch is a little bit different.
Yeah, that's
But
fine.
for the Army, you they expect you to be assertive.
Okay.
They expect you to be direct, and they expect you to speak up, use your outside voice.
Okay.
And get right to the point,
Okay.
right? And so that directness, that assertiveness, sometimes can come off as aggressive or
Right.
intimidating
Okay.
or
Yes.
bossy in the civilian sector because that culture is more, the civilian sector's culture is a little bit more person-friendly, right? There's a lot more smiles and a lot more prompting of the information before you get right to it, right? So in the military, it's just, this is what it is and go. There's not a whole lot of fluff with it,
Wow.
right?
Gotcha.
And so
Right.
the culture is different. One of my own personal experiences going from the military into corporate America, I had to learn how to email people,
Okay.
right? So you would send me an email with a request, and I would respond directly just with the answer. And then it would come across as, oh, she got an attitude.
Yeah, that's me.
No,
And I'm not
Yeah.
even in the military. They say, "Camille, you're always direct." Well, I didn't have anything else to say.
Right.
That's all I had to say.
And that's not always appropriate
Right.
or acceptable,
Right,
right?
right.
And so you have to learn those different ways as far as, good
Expressing yourself,
morning
too,
with
yeah.
So now I
smiley
know why
faces and
Teresa
thank
Wade
you.
Houston was always direct at work. Teresa, shout out. Now I understand. Now I understand Teresa Wade Houston.
So the direct way in the military is respected. It's
Right.
expected
Yeah.
and it's respected. And so that's the way that the whole culture is kind of cultivated. And then when you come into the civilian sector, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to adjust your mannerisms. You have to address, especially being a female in the military. And you have to carry yourself a certain way in the military. You have to show that you are competent in your abilities to lead, and sometimes leading male soldiers, right? And so
Wow.
then when you transition to the civilian sector, that can be intimidating, as I've heard directly to me. You're a little intimidating.
No, you
Well-
a little scared.
And so it's not an intimidation factor, but it's this is the issue. We need to get it done, and let's get to it. And so we have to adjust
Adjust to
sometimes
that.
the way that we present things so
Right.
that the goal and the information can be received. And so you're not really paying so much attention to the aggression that you think that you see, and more so
Right.
what the goal is, and we're accomplishing that as a team.
Isn't that interesting? We as women raise men, right? We train them in the way they should go. We teach them how to be strong, assertive, and aggressive. And then when we, the moms, go out there to do what we need to do, oh man, you hardcore. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
That is so backwards. We're the one that raised you guys.
Right.
And then when we get
right,
up to do what we
right.
trained you to do, now you're like, oh, we're too aggressive. Well, deal with it. No.
And really, I think that word of being aggressive is used out of context.
Yeah,
because
yeah,
most
I
times
agree,
it's,
I agree.
I'm passionate about what I'm doing,
Yeah, it
or I'm
should be.
focused,
Yeah.
or I'm even assertive, and you're not used to that, and so, oh, that must be aggression. That must be,
Yeah,
you know, something
you're angry
negative,
at
right?
somebody.
And it's not. It's just like, we got something to do. Let's get it done.
Let's get it
And
done.
see, and that's a lot happens when we get military people to come in and try to look for work. Some companies love that because they know you're gonna go straight to the point and do it. And then
Yes,
some
and
companies
do
say
it.
no.
Right.
Because they'll come in with that attitude like you were saying, and they be like, no, we don't want them in our company because they're so straightforward and direct and all this stuff. And even, when I be trying to help them do their resumes, man, it's hard. It's really hard because they're set in this way, and I'm trying to show them how to do it.
another way.
Yeah, the civilian way versus, and they be like, oh, I don't want to leave this out. I said, but you have to leave some of this out because you have a 10-page resume because they trying to write everything that they, accomplish. So you got to tailor it to the job posting. And then you have some that'll come in and say, wait, help me. I want me a job. I want to transition over to this,
Right.
So I can understand a lot of that with the military. But also you said here, and I love your PowerPoint that you put together. It's awesome. African Americans are 20% more likely to have a mental illness than other races. Why is that? Why do you say that?
There's a lot of factors that go into that. I think a lot of it has to do with our experience as a culture,
Okay.
and then the environments that we grow up in, and then some of the things that we teach our generations. Have you guys ever heard what goes on in this house stays in this
Oh,
house?
girl, I was brought
Right.
up with that.
Yeah, so things like that can add to depression and anxiety because you're
Yes.
teaching each other to hold things in and not process it, not express it, not work through it, just kind of sweep it under the rug, you know? And then we may have Uncle Joe who just in the back room, oh, he's just crazy, y'all don't go back there. But we haven't talked about what's really going on with Uncle
Why is
Joe.
he
Why doesn't
acting
he
the way?
come
Yeah.
out? You know, why aren't we taking him for treatment? And why are we just ignoring
Because
those things?
black people don't go to psychiatrists. They don't go to counseling because why?
It's a stigma.
They do go.
Okay.
I have a lot of people that come.
Okay.
It's a stigma, as you said, that goes on and through the generations. It's been said, you know, just pray about it,
Yes,
Right.
give it to God.
Well, see, that's in our Christianity thing. That's
Exactly.
it.
So it
But
goes back through our
sometimes
culture.
we can't we need to talk sometimes.
We need to pray about it
Yeah.
and seek therapy.
Right.
Just as if you were
Okay.
having a heart attack.
There you go.
We wouldn't be like, oh, let's just pray for her. We'd be like, okay, I'm going to pray and you call 911.
Right.
All the way there,
And
right?
it all works together.
Right. So
It's
it's,
okay. It's
your
okay
mental
to have
health
help.
is a part of your person. You can't leave out your
But
brain.
I can't go to because they're gonna think I'm crazy.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, we already thinking it. Just go ahead and go.
And so the more we have these
Right.
conversations and the more we talk about it and let people know
Thank
it's
you.
okay
To go.
to therapy. It's not because you're crazy.
Right.
Actually, it shows that you are intelligent enough to see that I have an issue that I
Thank
can't
you.
deal with alone.
Right.
Right.
And I need an unbiased opinion. I need someone who is trained clinically to
Yeah.
help me with the tools I need to progress further.
Okay, so when they come in and say for instance, some people, cause see, I was brought up, I never really heard of going to counseling growing up. You know, it was just like you said,
You deal with it.
you deal with
Yeah,
it.
you built
And-
for it.
Yeah,
Yeah, you built
and
for it.
you're a strong black woman. You can handle
Yeah,
that.
that's
But
right.
sometimes this is what causes us to go mental or what they call it now bipolar. You know, I know you experience those that come in and say, "I've been told that I'm bipolar." Can you
Right.
talk on that? What is a definition? I hear bipolar all the time.
Well, I think bipolar, the term,
Okay.
is just being thrown out there
Okay.
a little bit sporadically
Too much.
without any support to
Right,
it. So I
right.
think I think it's more accepted than some of the other diagnoses.
Okay.
So what I would say, for a person to really understand what a mental illness is,
Yeah,
right?
yes.
So a mental illness is a mental pattern that causes significant changes, distress or impairment in your personal functioning, in the way that you think, the
Okay.
way that you perceive situations, the way that you feel, and also in your behaviors, right?
Okay.
And so when you see those patterns changing dramatically, then you know that there's a possibility that there is a mental illness,
Okay.
right? And so we don't need to be quick to say, oh, this person has bipolar, because there's a lot more that goes into
Yeah, see.
a bipolar diagnosis, or, oh, this person has whatever they want to throw out there. So I wouldn't accept a friend or anyone telling me, oh, you have this because you act a certain way.
Right, and
So
that's the
that's where
first thing they want to say if they act a certain way. Oh, they bipolar.
Right, and that's why a person would need to go in to a mental health professional and have an assessment. There are particular questions that we're going to ask you. There are things that we're going to come through your history to see how to best diagnose you. Everybody don't have bipolar. Most
yeah.
people don't. Actually, because women are 2 times more likely to have depression than men, and then 1 in every 8 women experience a major depression in their lifetime, you know, that could be just depression. That could be from a traumatic experience. That could be from something that they experienced in childhood. We have to go in. We have to talk about
Deep,
these. We have
get
to
deep.
assess this. We can't
Yes.
just say, "Oh, that person's bipolar because yesterday they was acting like this. Today they act." You don't know, right? You don't know without a full assessment. So, the best advice I can give is to go in to a licensed clinician and have a full assessment, and let's talk about what the issues are.
Instead of going in and they just take these pills that what you call it, antidepressant pills. And
Xanax.
a lot of times, yeah, Xanax and Prozac, and a lot of them will say, "Well, I can just go get those pills and take them."
But don't you think even if you go back to when we were younger, the finances just weren't there for us to go where we saw other cultures go to as far as clinical help?
But did
And I
we
think that
know
was-
about it back then though? I mean,
I think we knew about it. I mean, you
no,
would
I
see,
didn't know about it.
You would see it. Well, I mean, I'm a little bit
Yeah.
younger, so am I that much younger than you?
You only-
We all got that red card, that AARP card. I love my AARP card.
That starts at 50.
I know, I got my card. I love it. I love it.
But see, coming from the
But
country,
I would
why I'm
hear-
saying
Country,
that.
yes. Coming
You know,
from the
I would
country, you
hear
would read
about it. But my mom always say, if you act up, she gonna send you to the crazy house. That was just her way.
So you
Let me
The
slide
crazy
in and
house you-
address that. There is
Okay.
no crazy house, right?
Oh, it's
there
not?
there are no mental asylums anymore. That is only in movies, right?
You're
so that's
right.
another stigma or
Thank
thing that's
you.
out
Well,
there.
I'm
and
saying
people
growing
think,
up,
no,
that's
I
what
understand,
mom
I understand,
would
but
say. I guess
But
the
I'm
people
glad you
still
brought
think
that out.
People still think that's how I wanted
Because
to
them crazy
piggyback on
movies,
that.
like with Carrie and all them, and they
Yeah,
be walking there
it's not-
with the
it's not a
cross,
thing.
going in there, and all them people be doing all this
But
crazy
you know, I heard,
stuff.
don't they have one at JPS? They said something about that, but
so
that's not what they
a
call.
psychiatric hospital, right? So we have a psychiatric hospital where a person can go in and
Okay.
get treatment,
Right.
and that may be anywhere from 1 to 3 days to 5 to 7
Right,
days.
right. I've heard of
or,
that
you know,
one.
it goes
Yeah, I know
even
about
further.
Yes.
I worked at JPS at one
Okay.
point in the psychiatric hospital
Okay.
where individuals, once they had been court committed through the
Okay,
system,
through the
then they
system.
would be court committed for 90 days. And so there's a program there. But there is no asylum where a person goes to this crazy house
Thank you for
forever,
sharing that.
right?
'Cause
They go
that's
in to
right. Mm-hmm.
get treatment, and we try to get them leveled out with medication, with therapy,
Right.
and whatever other things that are necessary support in the community, and hopefully get them to be a better person than when they came in, help them to be
Right.
more functional. And so a lot of different things come into that. And so you mentioned the finances, right?
Yes.
And so some people think mental
Yes.
health is expensive. There are tons and tons of resources for indigent, for people that are working, people. There is no excuse on
Thank you.
not having access to mental health care at this point, all right? And so Google, right? Call me, I'll direct you. You have colleges that offer it. You have MHMR of Tarrant County. You have MetroCare in Dallas. You have all these different agencies that will provide this based upon your income, sliding fee scale. Some of them are free. There is no barrier of finance anymore when seeking mental health. There's so many options out there.
That is so good.
So it's just getting people to be aware of what those resources are and providing them, putting those in their hands. So
Okay, you said some of the care is free. Okay, with the care being free,
depending upon their income.
or depending on their income, how many sessions are?
Now, that would just depend
That
on
depends
that
on the-
agency
Right.
and what that person's diagnosis is,
To
and
be-
what,
yeah.
you know, it would just depend on that agency.
Right.
Well, let me ask you this question. Being in the ministry, do you see a lot of pastors that come in and we're not calling no names down. I'm just saying, if I wanted to come and see you, could
Let me
I
just
come
say
and
this.
see you? You know?
Let me just say this. When you walk through my doors, there are no titles.
Thank you.
Okay.
So I
right?
could go if I wanted to.
There's no judgment.
Okay, good.
You could have been running with the Lord 125 years. You can come on in there and sit down, and you probably gonna teach me some things, and then I'm gonna help you along the way. So there are no barriers when it comes
Thank
to
you.
titles and your
Good.
positions, and
Right.
you know, are you the pastor?
They'll
You the
be dropped
pastor's
off at
wife?
the door.
Yeah, that stops at the door. You come in
Good.
as the individual,
Thank
and
you.
I come in as the clinician, and that's what we work from. So
Right.
yes, pastors do come to
Okay,
therapy.
good.
First ladies come to therapy.
Thank you.
Everyone comes, right?
Everyone.
It's
So
private, it's a confident, it's a place where you can talk.
Right. And that's
Confidential.
good to hear,
Confidential, yeah.
because some people feel like, I don't know who I can go talk to,
Right.
and I'm in the ministry, I'm the pastor, and if
Right.
they find out that I'm seeking,
still a
how can I
therapist.
stand up and preach before them? But pastors need counseling too. We need to talk sometime.
you know, the one of the most powerful things I heard a pastor say one time when
Mm-hmm.
he was preaching a sermon, and he said, "As I minister to you, I'm ministering to me."
That's right.
Right.
So as I'm helping you, this word is helping me.
That's
right.
right.
So that means you don't have to be perfect in
Thank
whatever
you.
role and in whatever situation you're in. So everyone can come to therapy. I'm not ashamed to say I've gone through therapy. How can I
Right.
tell you it works if I haven't gone through it?
That's good.
Right. So how can you tell me that
Thank you.
seeking God is good if you ain't seeking Him yourself?
Come on now.
So we
I
have to
hear
be
you.
transparent.
Yes,
Right.
have to be real.
Now,
Come
in
on.
therapy, it's 100% confidential.
Mm-hmm.
That means that whatever you're sharing in those sessions,
It stays
no
there.
one else
That's right.
has access to that information except on two reasons,
Okay.
right? If you are in imminent danger of harming yourself, that
Okay.
means you have a plan.
Okay.
Not that you're thinking about it, right?
But
And that's
yeah.
another thing people say, well, I don't want to tell my therapist that I'm thinking about killing myself, right?
Okay.
You can tell me you're thinking about it.
Okay.
It's when you have a plan and you're about to put it in action that I got to call in for support. But we can talk about your thoughts.
Right.
Okay.
People have these thoughts and they don't want to share them.
Right.
Okay, so that's one thing. So if you are in imminent danger, that means I have a plan to kill myself.
Well, would I
Then I-
tell you that plan?
You probably would, and I'll probably be able to pick up on
Pick up on it,
And
that
I'm gonna
you-
get
that I'm
you to
telling you
help.
that.
We're not
Okay.
gonna call the
So
police.
you're not
on
gonna
you.
let me know you give me help, because I'm actually sitting there telling you, I'm thinking
I'm
about.
gonna let you know when you walk in
Okay.
the door day one what the expectations. I'm transparent. I'm not
Okay,
hiding
good,
anything.
good.
If you tell me that you have a plan to kill yourself when you walk out this office, you got a gun in your car.
You have to.
I have to intervene.
Thank
right?
you. That's
So,
good.
so if you have a plan to kill yourself or someone else, those are the only two reasons that I would break confidentiality with
Right,
you.
and that's good though.
You could tell me
Anything, huh?
you just robbed the old lady on the corner. I'm gonna be like, you really should go back and get this lady her money. But I'm not the police.
Right.
You can tell me
You
you
ain't gonna tell me to take the money back.
I'm gonna tell you to take it back, but it's on
Money
you.
back.
But everything that you say in your sessions is
Okay.
completely
That's
confidential
good.
unless I have to intervene to make sure that you're safe.
Okay, when you intervene, what say that you have to do a commitment for 72 hours? Can you do that?
I don't personally do it.
Okay.
I go through the process.
Process
Okay.
of it.
Right?
Okay.
And I can contact, depending on how severe the person is,
Right.
if they have a family member there that can be supportive of it. But the process would go through, in Tarrant County, through MHMR or through straight to the police officer. And they would take them to the mental health facility, the JPS hospital, what have you,
Okay.
that's close by, and they would go through the psychiatric emergency room and get an assessment, get
Right.
processed, and they'll determine what needs to happen from there, right? But I myself don't
You
commit
just be the
anyone.
referral like
Right.
person
Oh, okay.
that
Yeah,
would do that.
there'll be things that stand out, and I'm gonna say, this person isn't safe, we need to get you some
Right,
support and some
right,
help.
right.
But I don't want you to think that your therapist is the one that's gonna lock you up or put you in
Right.
the hospital.
Right.
You go seek therapy to prevent having to
From-
go to the hospital.
Right.
I'm gonna do everything I can to intervene, because I don't want you to have to go to the hospital.
Yes.
Right? And so, everything within my power that I have the capacity to do, that's what we're gonna do, right?
Right, right.
So,
I-
go ahead.
How would I want to phrase this? You know, normally when you see women on the news where they've killed their babies, or
Yeah. the
they've done
post-
something, or they're shooting up. How is it that they're normally examined as insanity, but in our culture is we did it and we're guilty and we get the time, but other cultures will get some type of psychiatric evaluation and they need care, but our culture, somebody can't say. You can plead the fifth if I'm asking the wrong question.
What I
So
would
just thought
say
it
to
was-
that is that's mostly at the discretion of the legal system on how they proceed with how they're handling it. I would just say to us as individuals, if you know someone who's having a difficult time as a parent or on the brink of being a parent and they're struggling, help that person get to help.
Right.
Because we don't know what will go into how it comes out on the other end legally.
Right. I just didn't know why is it that other cultures, they obtain that type of help, and when they go to trial, you hear that their cases, it was an insanity case. But when we go and we do something, our culture does something similar, it normally isn't. And I know it's the legal system, but how do they weigh that one culture is more prone to
Well, they probably don't look at it
insanity
like that. They probably
versus
just,
when
yeah.
a woman in our culture does something to her child, or we were just
We go straight to
demonic,
prison.
straight. It ain't enough years. They
Yeah.
hit that gavel and we're in. When the lady drove her kids into, oh, that was postpartum depression. Oh, she has this,
Right.
but we don't as a culture.
And I think what we can do is start to encompass more mental health, because postpartum depression is real.
Well, I mean, just any of them that
Yes, it
they'll
is.
name. You know, they can say she's depressed. You know, I'm just watching.
What are
the
some of the
news.
signs of it though? You know,
Of depression,
yeah, in the post, you know, post,
postpartum
yeah,
depression.
Even
you know, just
at all.
depression. Some people are that sanguine person that act all happy and they
All the
killing
time.
themselves, you know, on the inside. They don't want to talk. They don't want nobody to know what they're going through. So they put up this front.
Right.
But there's got to be some kind of signs that you can pick up on.
Well, usually a person that experiences depression, they lose interest in things that they used to enjoy doing.
Okay,
right?
so we have to watch that.
And then, just communicating with
Okay.
them and asking them how they're feeling, right?
Okay.
Because we, as black women, we can wear a mask. You
Oh,
won't see this
baby.
depression. I come to work, go to church, and take care of the kids. You won't even know.
Won't
And
even
I call
know.
that functional depression,
Uh-huh.
right? Because
Right. You're
we've been
right.
programmed and trained that there are certain things that we have to do,
Right.
right?
Right.
And we're going to do those things,
Regardless.
and that's it,
That's
right?
right.
But when a person starts losing interest in things that they enjoy, right?
Right.
They're not their happy-go-lucky selves, and they start to do things differently, or their behaviors start to change, and they start to use alcohol or different things to suppress those feelings. They're just different behaviors that they start to display that are not their norm.
What about
Low
just
levels
being
of energy,
angry?
being angry,
Or just
sleeping a
acting
lot.
out, you know, like that.
Yeah, so there's multiple things that could occur.
Yeah, could occur
And
like
so just being aware, if that's your friend or family member, like, hey, I noticed that, you're
There's
acting
a
a little bit
difference.
different, is there anything you want to talk about? Anything you want to get off your chest, And so just kind of picking up on those cues, because when your girlfriend or your family member is acting a little bit different than they normally do, their energy is a little low, they're sleeping more, they never want to talk on the phone or go out and do the things that they used to. Those all could be signs of depression.
So just start watching their body language and
And
what
don't be
they're
over there
talking
just putting them under a microscope. But
I'm gonna
if
watch you.
if
I'm
you
watching every
notice-
move at you, man.
If you notice that things seem to be a little bit different, ask questions. And that's
Okay.
what we don't do. We always be like, that's not my business.
Yes,
But
when
ask
you
questions.
Ask the question.
Right.
Sometimes they
Yeah.
get,
Sometimes they
get-
don't answer.
they
I
won't
mean,
Or they get angry.
They get angry, they don't answer.
Until you stay out of their
Moody,
business.
that's it.
You
That's
know how
true.
we,
Or
as
go to
black
cussing,
people,
yeah, cussing you out.
Yes,
we get
ma'am.
hostile towards you.
Well, sometimes
You know,
it's,
angry.
it's,
That'd be an angry black woman.
Yes.
You watched that
Tyler
movie,
Perry
didn't
wrote
you?
it.
All right, shout out to angry black women.
now we all know sometimes it's not what we say, but
How we say it, yeah.
And so a person usually can tell if you're saying something out of love, right?
Right.
And so just be careful on how you're asking them, and it's not accusatory or demeaning,
Right.
but you're showing support.
Okay, so it's like you're trying to build up the trust where they can talk to you.
Right, and it should be
Oh,
a
wow.
person that you have built up a rapport with.
Yeah.
and
Right,
trust
yeah, I'm
with.
talking about
You
people
feel
I build up a
comfortable
That you
with.
feel
Right.
I'm talking about
comfortable talking
strangers,
to.
and you are saying it nice, and you are trying to say, okay, what's going on? Is there anything you want to talk about?
Hell, ain't nothing going on.
And
Why
so-
you
But
getting
they
into my
still-
business?
that's-
And so when I would run into situations like that,
Uh-huh.
I just love these little cell phones because I can send you messages and you don't
I
have
know
to
that.
respond. You'll get the message. So maybe I send you,
But if they do them in capital letters,
or maybe I'll send you
angry.
the number for the suicide hotline. Right?
Okay.
Maybe I'll send you a number to a therapist that I'm familiar with, right?
Okay.
And so I can send you support without you responding to it, but I know that I've given you that information.
whether you use it or not. Also,
Sometimes,
in, oh, go ahead.
not too- Sometimes some people I notice, like, it's a certain person that they want to check on them. They may not want you, they may just want pastor to come over and check on them, the leader, or someone, oh no, I just waiting for my husband to ask me what's wrong. Even though you could be that friend or that aunt or niece, and you're asking and inquiring because you notice something, they only want that person, I guess, who they esteem, or that person that's in leadership to ask them, or the boss to notice. Well, maybe
Right.
the boss may not notice. I notice because I sit next to you all the time, or I see you more. You know,
Right.
'cause you say,
Well, we can only do what we can do,
I'm
right?
just like giving
That's
people
right.
options. So it's just so much more to it than not generalizing it. Because you can. I do ask my girlfriends how things going, what's going on. They don't always respond. But
But
you
some of them can do a good front though,
Yeah.
and you don't know.
But mental health is one of those things that a person has to want the help,
right.
right? I can have all the
That's right.
support for you and all the ideas, and I can have all the clinical
That's true.
advice, but you have to want that change,
That's
right?
right.
And so I'll let you know that it's available. Here are some
Right.
resources,
Right.
but the person actually has to want that.
Well, let me ask you this: have you ever had a patient that just got attached to you?
Yeah.
Don't want nobody. I don't
Yes,
want to see
but
nobody
nobody else.
but you. And that's
You
sort
on
of dangerous
maternity
sometimes
leave,
too.
But they say, well, I wait on her.
You in Paris.
Yeah, but they
So-
get attached to
Paris-
you,
you in
and that
Paris
can that
Fashion
can be
Week.
dangerous at
And
sometimes
they waiting
too.
on you to come back at the airport.
Well-
Don't know where you're coming in at.
Y'all are funny. So, what I would say to that it's up to that therapist to set good boundaries
There you go,
initially.
right there.
Um,
Yes,
Good.
Early on, I had that experience.
right.
Right. So I learned really quickly
Quick.
how to set concrete, clear boundaries
Yes,
and reinforce them continuously if necessary.
that's right.
And then knowing when to part ways.
Right.
So how did you know that this person was attached to you? What were the signs?
The one I didn't know,
When you didn't realize that that was happening?
when did I really figure it out?
Yeah.
Did it take a while?
No, it's just when
Were there notes on your car window?
yeah, it got to it. Yeah.
Because you're gorgeous and they forgot that you was the,
Yeah.
That's-
Yeah.
they had to
But and that's a learning experience. So you
Yes,
just
it
have
is.
to
your
and
early
that's
years maybe.
yes. And so that's with any position that you're in. When
That's
you're
right.
helping people,
Right.
you have to set clear boundaries
Yes.
from the beginning and be
Yes.
consistent with them.
Yes.
If you feel any shift in energy, redirect that, you know. And so I'm very
Especially when it's
that's
a man.
that's when the military come out.
Yeah.
I'm very direct and clear cut on that.
Because
And so-
see, if you're doing a man,
and I have a lot of male
you really
clients.
have to put that boundary.
And you know,
or do you?
usually with my male clients, I only have to set it that one time.
That's good. But
And
you
when
do
I
have to
do,
set it,
it's
right?
very clear.
Yes.
So what about with your female client?
That was the, yeah. So, because see, that snuck up on you. You didn't expect it, right?
Right.
Right.
And so that's when I had to be more aware
boundaries
of people who have different symptoms related to their
Yeah.
diagnosis, like histrionia, different things like that, where they show different behaviors that you don't necessarily think are affecting the therapeutic intervention, but they can be. And so addressing them right away. And I don't have a problem with addressing them. So you sitting across from me and you just keep, pulling your dress up. Ma'am, are you hot? Do you want me to turn the air up? Because you're going to have to keep your dress down
Right.
in session.
That's where the military come in.
That's where the military come in.
You just have to make sure that you set very clear boundaries
Right,
and support them in the best way. And like I say, every therapist is not for every person.
That's right.
Right.
And so I only work within my capacity. If I'm not the therapist for you, let me get you to someone that can help you. Because
Right.
my whole goal with this is, if I can't help you, then I'm not going to hurt you.
Right.
And that's good.
That's good.
That's
And
really
isn't
good.
it interesting that you
Go ahead.
when you counsel, it's just you and your client?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that interesting? And you counsel
Men,
and
women,
and children.
couples.
And that's no disrespect to anybody, but when you get in the ministry, they have everything separated because you can't. But then in the secular world, you can counsel, and you don't have any problems. You can throw them out. But then when you're in the ministry, that's a problem. When one person is in there counseling with that other person, isn't that interesting?
I didn't
That
even
you
know
can
that.
go
And
But
see, and-
why is it a problem? Because if you're counseling,
because men don't counsel men,
no,
or there has to be
women
someone.
women do not counsel men.
Right, right. But
Right.
isn't it
Right.
interesting how that dynamics happens in the church? but
That's
in-
kind of unfortunate because sometimes, depending on the person, they
That's
may
true.
do better with a female therapist, depending on what their needs are.
Right.
Depending on where their abandonment issues are and where their pain
Right,
is.
right.
And so it's just a different dynamic when you put men and women together. So I just like to see what does this person need, right? I don't look at them as male, female, pastor,
Yeah.
dope dealer.
Right, yeah, right.
It's what do you need to your core? That's what I want to be able to reach. And if I can't do it, who do I know in my head that I can give a call to, or where can I refer you to, so that you can be taken care of to your core and not so much your outer appearance. And that's unfortunate that barrier is there.
Right.
Because my male clients, they show up every session on time. They never miss. Like, they are faithful to their therapy session,
But your
and they get a lot
females-
out of it. I mean, they do too. But I'm saying is they take it serious,
Right.
right? And
But
so
those are the ones that really want the help, right?
Right.
Do you ever have any of them that just come when they want to and, they're
no.
not really just,
like I said, we kind of set the basis
thing.
at the beginning,
You must be
right?
an awesome therapist.
you must be, because,
I just let people know that I'm genuinely here for you, right?
Right.
And
And
I'm
if
not
you
here to
don't
waste your
come, yeah.
time, and I hope that you're not here to waste my time. And my
I
goal
wanna
here is
help.
that we make progress,
Right.
right? Whatever your goals are, I am dead set on helping you
'Cause I
accomplish
need
them.
help.
And in
Right.
order for us to do that, you got to show up.
and you gotta be real. You gotta let it out. You gotta talk to me about that.
But with that,
You
I
know?
have to build rapport with you. I have to
Right.
make you feel comfortable. We have to
Right.
get to that place to do that work. So I have my part to do in this as well.
Right.
And so I try to do my best at doing that so that that person can let those guards down and so we can move forward.
So if I was to walk into your office, how would you make me feel comfortable?
Well, 'cause I know you're a diva. I got this little diva
Oh, you
area
got
for
that.
you.
Okay,
Get you a
that's
little
it.
coffee, a little water, kick your
Okay.
feet up. No, I'm just joking.
Oh, shoot, I was liking that.
The
coffee and the water.
Actually, I do have. Actually,
in
that
the diva area, I'm coming.
Because I'm
Actually, that
nervous, I'm walking into
Yeah,
your
yeah.
office, I don't know you, what would you do
And she
to
looking
make me
back and forth
comfortable?
to see if anyone's gonna recognize her
Yeah.
walking in there.
Okay,
But once the
so
door's
there's no
closed.
one else there when you come for your session.
Okay.
I don't have people in the waiting lobby.
Okay,
It's
good.
by appointment only. So when you
Okay.
come in, you're coming right in.
But I'm nervous when I'm coming into your office.
Right.
Then I'll just meet you wherever you are.
Okay.
We'll talk about why you're nervous. We'll talk about how
Okay.
your day started off,
Okay.
what's going on for you. We don't have to jump straight into, so tell me about your childhood. No,
Okay,
we're
uh-huh.
going to start wherever you are,
Okay.
and get you
So I'm
comfortable.
gonna be the one probably open up first, or,
Well, I'll start talking.
Okay,
I
you
don't
start
have a problem
talking.
with talking.
Okay, if I wanted some wine,
And I'm not gonna give you no wine
Man,
because I don't know you yet. We just met, and I don't know how that's gonna alter your character.
hey, it might make me go crazy,
So we gonna. And I got water and coffee.
but I'll take the water and the coffee. Now, on here it says, you said black youth are 3 times more likely to be victims of reported child abuse or neglect, 3 times more likely to be victim of robbery, and 5 times more likely to be victim of a homicide. Homicide is the leading cause of death among African-American youth ages 15 to 24. Wow, isn't that something?
My God.
Man,
Black
We gotta
youth,
protect our
3
youth.
times.
wow.
Yeah, it's
Do
real.
you counsel youth too, or just
15 and up.
15 and up? You can counsel them
15 and
without
up.
their parents, or
With
do that?
the initial
parents?
session, I usually do with the parent and child, if the parent is the person bringing them. But sometimes I have teenagers who have requested to go to therapy on their own.
Wow.
And so they're ready to come in and start talking on their own. They don't need their parent. But we do, consents and confidentiality to make sure the parents are aware and whatnot. But yes, I see teenagers and up.
Wow. Oh, suicide, 10th leading cause of death in the United States. On an average, 129 suicides per day. Wow, that's a lot. In 2017, over 47,173 Americans died by suicide. If they had known about your practice, that could have helped.
I would hope so. I would
Oh,
hope so.
gosh.
And now that mental health is on the rise and people are talking about it more, celebrities
Yes,
are talking
they
about
are.
it more, athletes are talking about it more.
Yes.
And so now that we're talking about it, now we just got to make people aware of where to go.
Where to
are
go,
the resources?
yes.
They're right in your community.
But you know what's so sad about it is that mental health has been here since we've been here. But it's amazing how when you have a star or a football player or a baseball player that's, suicidal, it comes out. They're just like, it's coming out now due to the fact that the teens are using it. So it just amazed me that suicide is here, but it hasn't been here. If
Right.
that makes sense, what I just said. Because what I'm
Well,
saying
like
is,
we
the
didn't talk
awareness
about it.
of it, the awareness.
Okay, it was
the
hidden.
awareness of
Okay,
it,
got you.
Yeah,
It was
it
here,
was
but
hidden.
it wasn't.
Right.
And then you have, people have news in their hands now.
Yeah, you got more
Versus-
access to it.
And more
Yes.
people are talking now. They're coming out with everything. But this year, suicide among women veterans has increased.
why?
With women, I mean,
There's a lot of variables on the why. Women are, I believe it says, 4 to 8 times more likely to attempt suicide than men are, but men are twice as likely to succeed at it.
okay, so the women mostly like attempting. And they'll probably tell somebody, I'm gonna do it too. You think?
Or somebody just may be there to help, but those are the
What do you mean
statistics.
help?
Like you may attempt and then there's someone in the home that notices and gets you to help,
Oh, I
right?
thought you may help you
Or
do
you may-
it.
Hopefully not, hopefully
No.
not.
Oh, my God.
But suicide is on the rise. It's on the rise, and it's on the rise in our community. So many times we used to say, black people, we don't commit
We
suicide.
don't commit suicide.
That's a
yeah.
lie.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Because it's happening more
More and
and
more.
more and more and more of our
Wow.
youth are attempting
Yes.
suicide.
Yes.
And-
Our youth.
Yes, you're right. And
Right.
and they're even doing it on Facebook Live and
Yeah, how old was the little girl?
yeah, the little girl, we had one here. Well, it was a friend of one of our members, and they did it live. She went through all of that,
Yeah.
But you said barriers to treatment were the awareness, the stigma, the lack of information, misunderstanding of mental health. Therapy can coexist with faith and spirituality and all this here. But now we have information that need to get out there.
Right.
Yes.
I know you got your resources that you put on there. Tell us a little bit more about your clinic, where they can come to you if they wanted to.
Right.
Yes. So, Therapeutic Transitions is the name of my clinic, and I am in Mansfield, right off of 287 and Callender Road. My website is therapeutictransitions.org. So that's how you can reach me.
You want to say that again?
Therapeutic Transitions.org,
Okay, and your phone number?
817-504-7660. And so I'm available in Mansfield. There are other services wherever you are. It doesn't matter where you are. If you need help, just call and we'll get you connected to the right resources.
And what are your hours?
I'm pretty flexible because I understand the need of the people. So Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursday, I'm open anywhere from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Oh, my
Right? And then I have Saturdays. So I try to accommodate the people, right? Now, I can't accommodate everybody, okay? But I do try to have evening hours available, weekend hours available, mornings, because different people have different needs. Again, my goal is to every person that I come in contact with, that I'm able to help them, if not through my services, connect them with the right resources to help them. So not leaving anyone behind with this mental illness.
What is your address? You didn't give us your address.
2364 Highway 287 North, Suite 101, Mansfield, Texas.
And that's the name, what's the name on the building?
Transitions Case Management.
Okay, Transition Case Management, right?
Just remember therapeutictransitions.org. You can go on there, you can message me, you can email me, you can call me from that app, you can make an appointment, whatever you need to do, therapeutictransitions.org. Therapeutictransitions.org.
Sometimes when people have a website, they'll change one letter or they'll put a number with it. It's therapeutic.
it's
Yeah,
just-
and people be looking for you and you can't find them because they
No
put a number
changes,
two
just
instead of
therapeutictransitions.org.
Okay.
Yeah, just the
And
way
if
it
you
is.
don't know how to spell it, look it up first and then spell it the right way. Because
Right.
it will not show up if you spell it wrong, okay?
And also, a lot of people find me through Google, right? Because when
Okay.
you're looking for someone, everybody knows to go to Google. And so you can just put my name in there, I'll pop up.
And what is your name?
Aqueelah Collier. That's AQUEELAH Collier. So
There
you
you
can
go.
find me on Google. Psychology Today, a lot of people go there to find their therapist or psychiatrist information there. So I'm on Psychology Today. Also, I got to give a little quick shout out to Taraji P. Henson because she opened her mental health foundation and used her platform to help people with mental illness, and it is superb. And I'm also on her national directory. She has a national directory for all African American
Good.
clinicians across the
Yeah.
area. So
Congratulations.
That's Cookie, isn't it?
that's Cookie.
That's Cookie!
So
You can watch Cookie on Empire Wednesdays
Okay.
too. But that is
find me on her
awesome.
directory. Therapeutictransitions.org. Yes, ma'am.
Good. And how long have you been in your practice?
I have been working in this field a little over 5 years. I've been in private practice a little over a year.
Okay.
Now, I have experience across the board, but in private practice there in Mansfield a little bit over a year.
Yeah. We're so happy to know that we have an African-American beautiful black woman.
Yes.
That I can actually go, none of both of us probably need to
I
go
probably
talk to
will
her.
probably
and stuff. Because we all have some kind of, okay, yeah, she really needs to talk to you. Did you tell, does she look depressed? No, I'm
See, we ain't gonna do that. You gonna
Yeah.
But anyway, it's been so nice talking to you, and I'm glad that you was able to share about mental health. You know, they say, they used to call it mental health, mental retardation, but now MHMR is mental health and my resources now.
Yes.
Because a lot of people are intimidated with the retardation. But anyway, if you do need help, there are resources out there for you, and you can contact, say your name again,
Aqueelah Collier,
and she will be more than happy. Go to her website, check her out.
therapeutictransitions.org.
And if you don't know how to spell it, look it up on Google, and it will
Type it in.
spell it. It'll spell it for you. Give us, what would you say to the audience before we close? What would be some good advice that you could give to our audience?
Don't wait. Seek help. Nothing is too shallow. Nothing is too small. Sometimes people just need an ear. Maybe
Right.
you just need somebody to listen to you because the people around you are negative or not supportive or you
Thank
don't
you.
feel comfortable. Just go seek out a therapist and just share your thoughts and your feelings with them. You don't have to have a diagnosis or have anything traumatic going on, but seek help, right? We're here as your support.
Right.
All right. So thank you. We really appreciate you taking the time out. Thank you, Linda, for asking her to join with us tonight.
you for coming.
And I
Thank you
hope
for
that
having
this
me.
information have been beneficial and helpful to you. Don't be afraid to seek help.
Right.
Don't let your title stop you from going to get help. If you're feeling depressed, find someone that you can trust. Pray first. I like the way you said that. Pray first. There are some Christian people out there. This is a Christian-based talk show. And there are some Christian doctors out there that will pray with you. Minister Linda was saying that on yesterday, how she had one that actually prayed with her. So don't feel ashamed. If you need help, go get it. If you're feeling suicidal, you need to talk to somebody. And let us pray with you. We thank you. This ends our show tonight. Watch every Monday at 7 o'clock. I guarantee you, you're going to love our show. So tune in next Monday with the Talk of Life talk show with Elma. It's about to close out. Until next Monday. Love and hugs. Hi, I have a few announcements I would love to introduce you to. The first one is, have you ever gone to the hospital and they was getting ready to take your blood and you got stuck so many times? I would like to introduce you to A+ School of Phlebotomy, the art of the draw, where the CEO is Alicia White, 817-948-0373. Again, that number is 817-948-0373. Your yard will look so good, you'll forget my name. Whatchamacallit Landscape. Owner and CEO, Derek Brackens, 682-400-9255. If you want your lawn to look beautiful, check him out. Again, 682-400-9255. Rent your next event with the Kirk Booth photo booth. Check us out at www.thekirkbooth.com, where the CEO is Emmanuel Kirkwood, 214-210-8562. And we do all events, so check us out at www.thekirkbooth.com.